we're going to continue our lesson on the laws of the universe. In this lesson, we are going to talk about law number 6, particle attraction. This law states, there are some particles that love each other and stay joined. There are other particles that do not love each other very much, and when joined, may separate. So we've been talking about particles, and we've been talking about particles in solids, liquids, and gases, and how when we add heat, these particles become lighter and start to float and move away from each other, and that when you take heat away, they become heavier and come together. Well, there's more to this than that. Particles, different particles, can also come together, and some of them they do. They love each other and they like to be together, and then there are some that don't love each other and they don't stay together. Let's take a look at what I mean by that. I have 2 glass jars of water, just plain ordinary water, and in the first jar we're going to add sugar. This is regular brown natural sugar, and I'm going to add it to this first jar of water, and I'm going to mix it up until the water and sugar start to come together, that the sugar dissolves. Okay, so this is mostly dissolved. There's some sugar that might come to the bottom still. That's okay. So, mostly dissolved sugar in the water. And now I'm going to clean off my spoon and dry it off. As a good scientist, always when they change their material, they make sure that their instruments are clean, so not to contaminate. Now, in this jar, I'm going to add this powder, and this is just chalk. So I took a stick of chalk that you use to write on a chalkboard, and I just smashed it and I ground it down into a powder. And I'm going to add it to this jar of water. And I'm going to mix it up. So now we're going to wait for a while, and we're going to come back later in an hour or so. Maybe I might even wait all day. And we will look and see what happens to these 2 glasses or these 2 jars of water, the one with the sugar and the one with the chalk. While you're waiting, you can also do this at home. You can get 2 jars of water, and you can fill 1 jar with sugar and water. And if you have a stick of chalk at home, you can grind it up. I use just a rock from outside and I ground it up. And then you can mix it in the other jar of water and set it aside and watch it all day and see what happens. But we'll be back shortly to see what happens to my jars. See you then. Okay, welcome back. Here are 2 jars, and I've let them sit alone for a while, all day. And let's take a look at what happened. If you remember, this jar, we added sugar to the water, and in this jar we added chalk. And after sitting all day, let's take a look at the sugar water. You can see that the water and the sugar are still very much mixed together. But when we look at our chalk and water, if you look closely enough, you can see that the chalk has completely settled down on the bottom of the jar. So we can say that in this jar, the sugar and the water loved each other and they wanted to stay together. But in this jar, the chalk and water do not love each other, and when we mix them together, they separated. So this is a simple demonstration on what happens in law number 6. When we say there are some particles that love each other and stay joined, the sugar and water, and there are other particles that do not love each other very much, and when joined, they may separate. And that's an example of our chalk and water. Now it's your turn to decide what are you going to do with this information. You could do the same demonstration. Maybe you have already done it while you were waiting. Maybe you stopped the video and went and tried this on your own. You can definitely add this to your notebook, these pictures, and copy down law number 6 and then also draw pictures to show. I'll post my notebook entry so that you can have an example of what it could look like if you wanted to do it that way. You could also go and start paying attention to the world around you, and start paying attention when you see things are mixed together, and when you've noticed that things sometimes, when some things are mixed together, they separate. Think about juice. There are some juices that they stay clear, but there are some juices we have to mix up. Experiment with that. Find out more about that. Which juices don't separate? Which juices separate? There are juices out there like that. And there are other things in our universe that also you'll see examples like this. Pay attention to that. And then when you notice something, write it down. And maybe you figure out something else you want to do. That's up to you. You can always comment on the blog and tell everybody what you've done, and share what you've done with everybody else. It'll be interesting to see what kind of ideas you get out of this. But just remember to do something. It's not okay. It's okay to make a choice of what you want to do, but it's not okay to choose to do nothing. You should try to do something. Because remember, this universe belongs to you. It's your home. Enjoy it. Thank you.